Peace, love, and light, beautiful souls. Welcome to my channel. My name's Mamina. If you're new here or you find that you come around a lot and you haven't yet, do subscribe, like this video, comment below, hit the little bell to be notified whenever I'm posting new readings and when I go live. I'll also be posting my regular schedule in my description so that you guys can know when certain videos are coming out and on what days. I'm just updating everything. My net has been crazy, so stuff has been slow. This is a collaborated reading. I'm collaborating with my sister Rachel from Angelic Revelations 144. I'm also using her cards, Naked Flame Healing Messages. We actually have a lot of cards we're going to get into for this one. I'm focusing on the divine healing. What is it that you need to heal from before you can come into sacred union, or that you just need to heal from? And I have the divine masculine's response to that. She's doing the other side of that. What does the masculine needs to heal from? And what's the feminine's response to it? So this is going to get, at least on my side right now, I can already tell you, this is going to get a little into the shadow here, right? So prepare yourself for that. Make sure you're centered. In this moment, you can choose to take a deep inhale for the count of 5. Hold it for the count of 5. And release for the count of 5. You can also pause the video if you need to, whenever you have to take a second to breathe, okay? I also have these decks here, which will give you even deeper insight to what it is you need to get into. So because there were so many cards, I already pre-shuffled them out. We're going to get right into the reading, but remember, this is a collective reading. It's general. With that being said, only take what resonates, leave what doesn't. Don't take on anything in your situation that doesn't belong to your situation. Always use your discernment, be it a personal reading or a general one like this. If you need more information from my readings, from my podcasts, you can look in the description. If you want to know more about the YouTube group readings that I'll be having and the deal that comes with, you can also find that information on my website. With all of that out the way, let's get into the reading. We're going to start off with Divine Feminine. What is it that you need to heal from? Love offer. Is your heart open to receive my love? Right off the bat, because I'm an honest person, I'm going to tell you, Divine Feminine, the answer would be you're not, for many of you. Because there's a lot of fear in your heart. There's a lot of uncertainty. And because you've been hurt in love before, and for some of you, because you carry wounds, probably wounds from childhood, probably wounds from teen years, or just other relationships, whether it was with family, friends, etc. There's this fear of being hurt again that makes you put up a wall. When you put up that wall, you're choosing a fated path. I'm going to break this down very simply for you. You have the fated path and you have destiny. And destiny has many different avenues. But the fated path, you base everything you do off of what you already know, which means you pre-perceive a lot of things. Whether they really are that or not, debatable, but you pre-perceive nonetheless. So before you enter a relationship, you find yourself automatically thinking it's going to eventually end, it's only going to last a certain period of time, or you put negative thoughts to it in the sense of, okay, this guy might be nice, or this person that I'm into, depending on your preference, may be nice. But then you make a list of all the things that they could do that could go wrong, right? Pre-perceiving that. Because in your experience, you've dated a certain type of guy, you've talked to a certain type of person, and you just can't get that image of all the times it went wrong out of your head. It could be one very drastic bad relationship, or it could have been several, but you put it on someone else. And when you do that, you're closing your heart up. In order to receive, you must know how to give. And in order to properly give, you must know how to receive. There has to be balance there. If your heart's closed off, if you're putting up a wall, if you're only loving with half of yourself, then you really can't receive when that person comes in and they want to give you everything of themselves, even if they're just going to do it. A part of you is always questioning, fated. It doesn't mean that they're going to exactly be that way that you're thinking, but that fear alone will control your emotions and control your actions. However, destiny is the unknown. Destiny is saying, even if I have a fear, I'm going to face it anyway, because all of the beautiful, great, excellent things I want is on the other side of that fear. If I have no fear at all and I'm fearless, I still choose the unknown, even though I can't say what's going to happen, when, where, and how, I'm still going to choose it because I know it's going to put me where I'm supposed to be, where I'm destined to be, all the places I'm destined to be, wherever that may be, with no thoughts of trying to restrict yourself completely. Now, that doesn't mean that you don't watch where you're going. You don't pay attention. Of course, you're going to pay attention, but you're fearless. You go ahead knowing that you can succeed. And if you should fail, you learn your lessons and you go forward because you realize that every time you've learned a lesson, it's made you powerful. It's made you stronger. You're able to push past the limits. And that's a beautiful thing in and of itself. That means that if you enter a relationship, should it work out, should it not work out, you're stronger for it. And you don't go into the next situation with bitterness or with a thought in your mind of how bad it's going to go. You also pay attention to what it is that you like or don't like. Sometimes when you're in this, I'm going to put up a wall or my ego is going to get in the way, when you put that kind of energy around yourself, yes, you can draw in negative people because they're responding to the vibration that you're putting out. What's the denied shadow here? Fear of the unknown. What was I just talking about? Embrace uncertainty. You need to embrace that the reality is, even when it comes to asking for readings, right? We can give you readings. We can give you some insight. We can give you some clarity and some guidance. We're not meant to tell you everything, even if we see more. We're only meant to tell you what the divine says we can, what your sacred guides who help you on your path say that we can, because you're meant to go through the process. I'm not here to give you all the answers. You have to learn to build up your intuition, to build up your strength, to build up who you are. Because listen, that powerful version of yourself, it exists within you already. What are we talking about? Gain? You don't need to gain anything. It's already there. You need to activate it. You need to allow it to wake up. It went dormant for whatever reason. Whatever happened in the past, it could have happened last week. But it made you go dormant. And now it's time to unlock that side. And in order to do that, you must embrace the uncertainties. You must allow those uncertainties to excite you instead of making you always afraid. What else do we have here, my loves? Escapism. I'm constantly distracting myself to relieve the pain of my reality. Listen, I'm going to give you another simple example. If you find that you have to escape in whatever way you may do that, we have a drink here. So for some of you, that's what it is. For many of you, again, it's that wall. For others, it's distractions. Every time something comes in your life and you need to have an emotional response to it, you put up a distraction. You find yourself trying to change the subject, trying to go a different route with things. You can't focus, in other words. If you must do that in order to escape something and you do it consistently and constantly, then my love, what are you escaping? Explain. Because true escape, a true getaway means I don't need to do anything else. I've already escaped. I'm out. So if you escape loneliness, then you're not lonely. If you escape depression and sadness, then you're no longer depressed nor sad. But if you find that you have to keep going to something in order to feel like you can escape, and that lasts how long? 5 minutes, 10 minutes a day, maybe, perhaps, probably not, right? So then you're right back to ground zero. You're right back to the emotion you were in before. Do you know why? Because you haven't went in to do the inner work. You're allowing yourself to believe that when you take that sip of wine, or when you change the subject, or when you decide to walk out the room because you just don't want to deal with it, you think that that's escaping, but in reality, it's a cage. You've caged yourself in. You're not allowing yourself to progress and go forward. And this here is about progressing and going forward. And why is that? Wounds. Didn't I speak about that earlier? Childhood traumas affects this relationship. It affects all relationships. Because you're thinking how this person's going to hurt me. So what's the point of me truly going all the way in? And for some of you, it's why you stay somewhere that feels toxic to you, because you know that toxic. You guys hear me, for those of you used to my channel, you hear me cover that a lot when we get into these kind of readings. Sometimes people stay in a situation that's painful and then use little things to escape the pain because they know what that pain is. They can recognize it. It's predictable for them. I know this person's going to do this or do that, and I know that I can just go outside and ignore them or whatever the case may be. The reality is it's still hurting you. It's a negative low vibration, and it keeps repeating itself. So even when you leave a bad relationship, you find that you run into other things in life that makes you feel like you can't seem to get ahead. And it's all because you need to go within and allow yourself to heal. Allow yourself to forgive yourself, because that's another side of it. When people have put up with a certain kind of way of being, they feel this need to feel guilty. Even when it's childhood situations. If you had parents that yelled all the time, and that made you nervous about yelling, when you become an adult that's nervous about yelling, you don't even realize that to feel guilty about that is to blame the inner child. To blame the inner child is to put a pause on inner healing. Something to ponder. Shadow work. Didn't I say this was going to get a bit shadowy? I'm exploring my inner darkness to become a better person. That's what needs to happen, my loves. You need to explore what it is that makes you really tick. You need to allow yourself to really tap into those inner problems, into those inner traumas, and heal them. It's not about tapping into them and feeling all of that and then clinging to it and allowing yourself to fall into this black hole. That's not what this is about. This is about, I'm really going to allow myself to forgive myself, to forgive the other person, because that forgiveness also enhances me. Let me explain this, because I know some of you pause every time y'all hear that. Every time you hear someone say, forgive the person and let it go, you think of things that are so out there that have taken place either with you or someone else. How can a person forgive that? I'm going to explain to you how. Let's say, we're going to use something simple. Let's say you had a bully. This bully really traumatized you, right? You become an adult. Maybe you look like you have it together, maybe you don't. You get a huge opportunity, like a business meeting. You got a business you want to do. You can go to that meeting, you can sell it. You already know the pitch. You already know it's going to be perfect. You got a good vibe about it. Now you walk into that meeting room, and sitting in the corner as a janitor or just as a assistant is that bully from when you were in high school or when you were in elementary, whatever time frame it might have been. Let me ask you, are you going to blow this whole situation, this whole opportunity, because that person is sitting in that chair across from you? Are you going to now get nervous and you can't do your presentation, or you're going to get angry? I have to leave this space because I can't believe this person is here. You're going to allow that person to have that much power on you? Because that's what clinging to hatred for a person really is. You're sipping poison hoping for the other person to take the train out of here. How did you think that was going to work? See, put things in perspective. You are in an opportunity of a lifetime that it doesn't matter what they're doing in life. You shouldn't even care. Billionaire, millionaire, whatever they may be, it shouldn't matter to you. What should matter to you is I'm in an opportunity to gain success that I can carry for all my life. And instead of focusing on that, getting the job done, which if anything would stick it to them in a way, right? You shouldn't want to do it for that reason, but let's be real, right? Especially if they're a janitor. It's like, again, you shouldn't want to do that. But instead of focusing on that positive, on empowering yourself, you're allowing that other person to control your emotions, whether they're really putting in effort or not. So now if that person sees that and now they start putting in efforts, maybe they make hand gestures they used to make when they were messing with you, or they say little words, your whole situation's blown. Think of how many people on a regular basis come across a person that ticks them off, makes them angry, makes them feel unworthy, all the other negative terms you can think about. And think of how many times an amazing opportunity might have come to them and they've let it go based on that person's going to be there. That person made them feel like they can't speak all of a sudden. They're allowing an outside source to affect them. This is what I mean when I say fear naturally isn't of you. It's adopted. You're told what to fear. You're made to fear something by someone else, either somehow hurting you or disciplining you to be afraid of a certain thing. And then you carry it, you adopt it. And what you adopt, you can let go of. And that is what shadow work is. I'm going to let go of this thing that wasn't of me to begin with. I'm going to allow myself to be powerful and move forward. Initially, your shadow is your protection. Think of your shadow side, because it's not about it being evil and all this other stuff. Your shadow side is the part of you that takes on all your trauma for you. What happens is when you don't go in to do the inner work to cleanse it out, that side goes rogue. It becomes toxic because all it knows is survival. It has to survive. It has to help you survive. And sometimes it can choose toxic things to do that, which is backwards, but it's all it knows how to do. It operates at some point when it's in that toxic mode, it's coming out of anger. It's coming out of all the lower chakras being completely unbalanced. Completely. I'm not going to keep diving too deep into that because then it feels more like it's going into a personal reading, but you get what I'm saying here. Your empowerment comes from embracing that part of yourself, going within and healing that part of yourself. What's this shadow work about? True love. This is the one you've been waiting for. Remember, this is about healing for sacred unions. You can also take it obviously as healing in life in general, but this is for healing for a sacred union. When you don't go in and do the inner work, you're missing out on true love, that love that you've been dreaming about, that love. And I don't care if you've had the fairy book version, if you've had the movie, the Notebook version, whatever version of that love, the true core of it and what it can be for you and what it can bring out of you, because true divine unions bring out the best in you. That's the goal. You always hear about these twin flame unions from the toxic standpoint. In reality, twin flames are people who, when they come together, they have powerful missions that they must do. They contribute to a shift in this world. That's why when they're off balance or when one can't be worthy enough, the divine says, okay, well, we're going to provide this person with someone that can help them grow. Because one of y'all got to get out there. One of y'all has to help in this cycle. We're in changing cycles right now. This is why when twin flames can come together, their unions are powerful. Because they bring out the best in each other. They challenge each other. And it's not always a toxic challenge. If the challenge is, okay, you want to do this career or you want to achieve this goal, I'm going to push you to be the best at it that you can be. I'm going to help you wake up every morning and look, this is what you said you wanted to do. So get on this task. And when you do that correct, I'm going to praise you, be the biggest cheerleader it is. True divine unions. Focus on my words, true, sacred, divine unions, be it twin flame, be it soulmate, whatever other title you may want to call it. It is meant at the end of the day to bring out the best in you. And if you are dealing with someone who's not doing it, then that's not a divine union. Either they're not ready for it or they're not the one. So for all of you who have a one that's coming into your life, you may or may not know them yet, right? In order to accept and receive their love offer, you got to do the inner work. Let's get into the next messages we have here. Journey to the Divine Feminine by Divine Moon Empress. Divine timing. Now is the time. Divine timing is at play. Divine timing is always at play. If you're new to my channel, let me explain. Divine timing is based on when you are ready, when you're ready, whether your partner's ready or not, especially when you're the divine feminine. When you're the divine feminine, we wake up first. We're the representation of the first flow of intuitive nature. We wake up first, which helps them wake up. Wherever they may be in the world, wherever, whether we know them yet, don't know them, might have been with them. And look, sometimes unions come in separation for more than just, oh, someone cheated. Sometimes people were in college together, left, were high school sweethearts, thought that they had to explore the world, broke up with each other. You know that song? But if you love someone, you just don't treat them bad. Oh, how I feel so sad. Like they go, okay, well, we've been together since high school. I don't know anything else. And they separate only to be brought back together to figure it out. And many a time you haven't even met your person yet. and you could meet them. They might be ready, you might not be ready, and vice versa. Divine timing, however, is always at play. The one that's meant to be for you will cross your path regardless, whether you're ready or not. Ready or not, here I come. You can't hide, I'm gonna find you. They're gonna find you regardless. You're gonna find them regardless. But will you be ready? Because you can't really sit there going, well, it never came in my life, or, well, I've dated a lot of toads and frogs. You can't fiddle your thumbs about that. If when I look into that part of your situation, I find that you weren't even ready to receive the love offer. So when you're questioning divine timing, when you're wondering, oh, it's going to take years, and divine timing can be right around the corner. It's always happening. Time, the way that you understand it, is not how time actually moves. Something can happen in an instant. An instant for you is barely a speck to the universe. 5 hours for you is barely an inhale of the universe. Bear that in mind when you find yourself getting so particular about divine timing. Have you done the inner work? And if you have, you find that you flow, so you don't really think about divine timing like that. You may have a moment in a day, you're human, right? But it's not like it's a constant thought process. Oh, timing, when. It's always happening. This person, for many of you, this one is the love energy that's coming in here. I feel like they're either right around the corner, right across the street, right up the street. They're in your vicinity. You could be in the mall and they walk right past you. They could be from another country. They could be from another state, and yet somehow they're in your area, energetically or physically, and or both. But you have to be open to receive in order for them to come forth. Just like once they come forth, they have to be worthy of the work you've already put in. They either have to already be in the process, willing to do it, or have done it. There can't be no tit for tat with that. Divine timing depends on your clarity. Able to see things clearly, understanding situations, peoples, places, things for what they truly are. Remember that escapism card that we had? You can't get clarity if you find yourself needing to run to something to escape, can you? And if you can't do that, then how can you flow in with divine timing, which is happening always? It's an absolute. Divine timing is an absolute. Clarity must come into play to support that absolute for you. And it's possible. You need the clarity from the heartbreak, from the suffering. Remember what I said earlier, past traumas, past wounds, bad relationships, all of that play into the current state of what it is that blocks you. And please understand, while I say this is healing for sacred union, twin flame soulmate, sacred unions flow into many different aspects of life. Soulmates, unlike twin flames, can be many different things. They're not always a lover per se. So this could be business related, family related. Family don't always have to just be people that are blood related to you. So if you found yourself getting ready to come up, I can hear you. My family isn't, if I could say what I really wanted to say to that response. Listen, family is truly based on the bonds of soul, more than just the physical representation that supersedes that physical representation. This person I'm collaborating with, that is a soul sister. I am equally protective of her as I would be of my own blood relatives. And at the end of the day, if a person is worthy to be in your presence, meaning that they want to see you shine, they want to see your light expand, they encourage it, they'll push you through those challenges, they'll be by you when you have them fall off, they help pick you up a little bit, and you do the same for them, because energy must be exchanged. There must be a flow. There must be an order to that. That's an absolute. So before you come up in your mind to put yet another block about how mama didn't do, daddy didn't do, my cousin, my aunt, uncle, brother 3 times removed didn't do, remember, those people are the physical world, and the physical world is not everything. The people who are meant to come to you, your soul family, your soul tribe, both from the other side and here, they're constant and consistent, and you need to be ready for them to come. Do you know how many people have amazing blessings that come in the form of another person in their life, and they will purposely push those people away, throw those people away? Lift yourself up out of that energy. Lift yourself up out of those guilt wounds. What was I talking about before? We actually had wounds come out here, guilt wounds. We've been talking about that. Feels sorry, uses guilt to manipulate, afraid to set boundaries. I'm an honest reader here, my loves. Yes, sometimes, some of you, whether it's intentionally or not, you find yourself using your past at times to manipulate a situation. But also, for many of you, you're easy to manipulate because of those guilt wounds, because people can see them. So what they do is they say, okay, such and such feels guilty whenever they couldn't make it to a sister's party or whatever it is. It can be simple, it can be major. I'm gonna trigger them with that. Now they know your triggers. Triggers are meant to be healed. Triggers are there for you to see what's going on in your inner working. Your job is to say, where did this trigger come from? Some people know and remember, some people forget. All they know is the trigger. So you tap in to find that out. And then in order to move forward and not be controlled by that trigger, you allow yourself to heal from it by cleansing, facing whatever it is. In my soul sessions, I do mirror techniques with people where you really have to have a conversation with yourself. Do you understand that most people can't even look their reflection in the eye? Even the most confident of people, or people who you think are confident, they can't look themselves in the eye in the mirror. All built around some type of guilt wound, whether it be related to deep trauma or surface level trauma. That's the average person. Or they look in the mirror and it's like a blank. It's a blank expression, a blank reaction. They never really allow themselves to see themselves. Because to truly see yourself will give you clarity. What's the shadow work for these guilt wounds? We have a reunion coming in. Someone is returning. For some of you, this someone could be your twin flame or soulmate. That is what it feels like here. For some of you, it could be, again, remember, sacred unions are people who come in your life to help you on your journey that many a times will get pushed away if you keep putting up a wall. You might push them away with anger. You might find that somebody was a really good friend and you just stopped calling them. You stopped talking to them. And they got tired of trying. They couldn't spend every day trying. That person could be calling you back. But yes, for many of you, this is love returning. Let's get into your divine masculine's response to all of this. Again, I'm tapping into masculines that you may know already. We're tapping into masculines you may not know already, but either way, we're tapping into the twin flame soulmate connection here, the sacred connection we have. I am your secret admirer. I check up on you through social media. I ask friends and family about you. That's for both some that sometimes your twin flame is drawn to you. They know you even if you haven't met face to face. There's a pull. And they'll find themselves, if you know mutual people, they'll find themselves asking on occasion those mutual, like, who is that? You know, just to get a tidbit on you a little bit. And for others, you already know somebody's returning, right? So they're watching, they're observing. They can feel when you're off. They feel the imbalance. I have faith that we will be together again. I won't ever give up. Please don't give up on me or our connection. You are not alone. We are always together in spirit. Again, they can feel when you're off. They feel it. It's an intense need to comfort you. It's an intense need to be there. Whatever may be keeping them from coming right away, they could be doing their own inner work. And again, if you're not open to receive, they're the person asking that question. Can you receive my love offer? If I give you my heart, will you accept it? So I feel like some of these masculines, we're going to be honest here, some of these masculines are wounded by their divine feminine. They went through things too, and they got with this person and they felt like they were giving all that they could understand to give at the time, only to be met with restriction, boundaries, borders. So some of you might have went into separation because of that, because they felt like they couldn't get through. And you might be dealing with an abandonment issue. You might feel like, well, they just abandoned me. But weren't you abandoning them? When you weren't giving your heart, when you weren't giving your time, when they were trying to get through, when they were trying to communicate, when they wanted to know, when they would say, baby, what do you need from me? What can I do? How can I help you feel better? When you kept deny access, weren't you abandoning them, leaving them? Think about what you're asking a person to put up with. Again, this is why we heal our triggers, because many of times you will put the responsibility of your triggers on another person. And even if they try to help, and even if they try to compensate for something for it, you find that you push them away anyway. So then they stand there going, well, what did I do all this for? It makes them feel trapped. They don't know what to do. So sometimes they flee, they run. And it's not that they don't feel guilt for that. Many of them will. At first, they might be mad. They might be angry. Oh, I gave all I could. But then they find themselves saying, but that person was hurting. Maybe that person treated me that way because of that. What else? And they deal with the same guilt trip of an issue that you would deal with when the roles are reversed. So bear that in mind when you're dealing with your masculine's energy. I feel you get in bed with me at night and hold me. I am comforted by your loving presence. This is a double card here. Some of these masculines, remember what I said, they can feel when you're off. They want to comfort you. They want to come towards you. So for some, that's what that is. Some of them feel like I need to comfort this person. I can feel their energy is off. However, divine feminines, even when you're not fully healed, even when you're dealing with your own issues, when you pick up your divine masculine, you too try to comfort them energetically. Whether your acknowledgement of it is there to see or not, it happens and they can feel it. You're always in energetic flow with the people that you're meant to be in flow with. And when it comes to your partnerships, it's a constant, consistent, absolute thing. Your energy, when you're in a low vibration, it seeks them out. Again, you could be saying in your mind, I don't need nobody, blah, blah, blah. Standard, typical thing. But your soul knows better. Your higher self knows better. So if necessary, it will seek out that person's energy for comfort. And that person will energetically get right on in bed with you, whether it's the 5th D, 9th dimension. I see past 5D. Whatever dimension it may be, they will try their best to comfort you, hoping to also build up the courage to come towards you in the physical. This is also the case when you haven't met your twin flame yet. Once they feel your energy, when that energy feels funky, when it feels off, there's this need to comfort you. Please be patient and trust in divine timing that will make the necessary. I will make the necessary sacrifices to come to you. Do I need to say more? They're letting you know. They might as well stand on top of a mountain and just scream it out at this point. Divine timing is happening now. It's now. It's not later. It's not a year from now. It's now. It's always now. Because in reality, right now is the only real time there is. Again, when you breathe, right now, take a deep breath. Just let it out. That moment, that was barely a speck in the universe. You're so significant, though. Because please don't think that just because of that, that means you're insignificant. You're so grand that the universe gets together and tries its hardest to align things for you. It really doesn't need to try. It'll just align it. But you also have to be in alignment to receive what it aligns for you. So even your divine masculine's energy is saying, be patient. Be patient with me. Be patient with yourself. I'm already on the way. I'm doing whatever I got to do. It may look like I'm doing nothing at all, but I'm doing something. And honestly, again, for those of you who feel like you have a divine partner that doesn't put in the work, they have no choice. Because should they not get it together, the universe will make sure that you are made whole regardless. So for masculines that may come across this, you're watching for your divine feminine and you think you have forever, nah. They're going to be made whole regardless. Just like if they can't get it together, you would be made whole regardless. But patience is needed because sometimes feminists, you get impatient with yourself and it also makes you impatient with them. I will never forget you. I will always love you. Nothing will ever change my love. Not even death can come between us and the connection that we share. This is confirmation of the twin flame soulmate connection right there. Confirmation. They're letting you know, no matter what we've been through together, no matter what you're going through right now, I love you. I'm in love with you. I'm going to give you another tidbit. It's not about falling in love. Anybody can fall in love. Can you be uplifted into love? Can the person you with, no matter how hard times may get, no matter how challenging times may get, let alone how beautiful and exciting they may be, can you feel yourself soar when you're with that person? It's not about putting a whole bunch of unrealistic expectations on them. When you wake up and they're cooking breakfast, is your heart flying in that moment, or is it caving into your stomach? These things matter. So many people look for falling into love. They want to keep feeling like they're just free falling. The reality is, when you truly allow yourself to immerse and feel love for all that it is, you take that leap off of that cliff and you realize that you get that drop feeling from a roller coaster, and then you get that spring up feeling, and you stay there. And you go through challenges, winds, storms, changes, waterfalls. But at the end of the day, you find that you're always in this elevated state with them because they uplift you like that. Something to think on, a new perspective you may not have thought about. I don't feel that you are as invested in this relationship as I am. I struggle to trust. I need you to show me that you are serious about us. Your divine masculines, like I said, some of them were hurt by their divine feminine. Some of them also had their own issues, their own fears, their own problems. And so they needed to trust you as much as you needed to trust them. They couldn't understand. And that might have also been an issue for many. You had a masculine that you could tell also had trust issues. But we're blunt here. You use that as an excuse to not trust them. You use it as an excuse to not just sit down and say, look, I know that you have your trust issues. I got my trust issues. We need a resolution. Let's really sit down and figure this out. Why, if we're both feeling this way, doesn't that mean we've been through similar things? They could be drastically different in how they happen, but the end result was both of us not trusting in people. Clearly, we love each other because we're sitting here. So why don't we figure that part out? Again, not every separation is about another person. And even when it is, sometimes that's another reason that people end up in third party as well. Nothing's ever one way. The world is very colorful. The universe is colorful. You're only seeing 10% of the colors anyway. But there are universal rights and universal wrongs. There are divine rights and divine wrongs. And sometimes people overstep them all the time. They blur them together. And most of the time, it comes from a lack of communication. Communicate your feelings. Allow yourself to be strong in that. Vulnerability is actually strength. We all know that. Let's stop the game. We all know that. That's the whole reason that a person may want to escape. Because they know that when they're vulnerable, they're stronger, but they don't feel like they have the strength to be that strong. Well, that doesn't mean that the masculine energy don't go through the same thing. Again, Rachel's going to cover that side. She's going to tap into what it is the divine masculine needs to heal from. And many of you, it may be your masculine that's covered in that. They have their problems as well. So when you do have one that comes in that's like, even though I have my issues, I'm going to try my best I can in the moment. Understand your masculine energy, he learns from you. That's how that energy works. Whether you're the physical representation of it or not, masculine energy responds to the divine feminine. If you're closed off, he's closed off. They're used to being in alpha mode. Yes, no, go, don't go. We're used to thinking about it, connecting a dot or two. They learn that. They grow within that. It makes them feel like, okay, I can come to my feminine and I can confess anything. I can say anything. She'll understand me. And that makes them want to work harder. So when they don't have a bone in their body to understand why, when they're trying to give, you can't receive back, it makes them run. Because in reality, they feel like you ran from them. And some of you here, some of you divine feminines here, you were the runner. We're honest around here, right? Let's get into more personal messages from them. Let's dig. These are personal, but let's get into something that may give us an idea of how they're, feeling. I feel like this is a mixture of current. A lot of this is their current. I want to dive even deeper. So I have a lot of gratitude for you because what? They learn from you. Even in the bad times, they're still learning from you. Even right now, they're learning from you. They can feel that each day that you wake up and you go forth, you face another day, even with those traumas, even with those bad habits. They're empowered by that. They need you to see you the way that they see you, even if it's the energetic self. The thought of explaining myself and apologizing scares me. I don't want to see the pain I've caused in your eyes. For those that left you, whether they left you for third party, whether they left you because, again, they felt like you weren't opening up. What did I say earlier? They took the time to really sit back and look at the situation, and they're like, but they were hurting. They were hurting, and I left while they were hurting. So they feel guilt. That's a guilt wound for them. But when they think about it, they're like, I didn't know what else to do. I didn't know what else to do. I didn't know what else to say. They weren't listening to me. What was I supposed to do? But it goes right back to feeling like I still should have been there. Maybe I should have stayed. They're going to need for you to help them with that, like they need to help you with that. Remember, some of y'all both has trust issues. We have you're so different, but that's why I love you. They love you for the uniqueness of who you are. So for those of you who you have insecurities, you feel maybe body image issues, you feel like you might be, maybe it's a learning disability. It could be anything that you think you're weak for. They don't see that. They don't see it. They're like, what are you talking about? You're unique. You're you. You can do anything. You can accomplish anything. They see you as this invincible force, but they also love you for your vulnerabilities as well. Because again, to be really vulnerable is to also be strong. So whatever you think makes you quirky or weird or nerdy, geeky, I'm picking up on different phrases from y'all. Whatever that is, they love it. Okay? They don't get why you can't see it. I've thought about you spending time with my family and me. That also feels like a mixture between the masculines who you've met face to face and the ones that kind of watch you from afar. That's how much that's another thing that makes them nervous. They're like, I want her to meet my what? Not everybody takes a girl home, if you know what I mean. So they're like, I want the divine feminine to meet who, where, what? But they can't help it. I regret walking away from you. I've explained that. I don't even know how to explain it any deeper than I've already explained it. I'm a better person because of you. You've really changed me. By helping them wake up, by helping them, even in leaving you, even in having to sit now within themselves and realize that, for example, I'm seeing divine feminines. I don't normally, these are general, so I don't normally talk about a very personal part, but I'm seeing a divine feminine who their masculine is having a conversation with them. They're talking. And this divine feminine isn't really responsive. It's like listening, but it's all going through as if she's a glass, like she's see-through. Everything's just flowing right past her, blowing in the wind somewhere out in the distance. It's not that you're not hearing, but you've shut down all emotional responses. And when that person starts to get agile, and then again, it's not that they're violent, but if they start yelling like, why don't you ever listen to me, blah, 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 you have an issue with people yelling. It's a trigger for you. And instead of explaining that to this masculine, you might have just said, oh, I don't like yelling, but you said it so passive that they were like, why am I supposed to care about you not liking yelling when you're not listening to me, blah, 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 blah. Now that they're reflecting on it, they're paying attention to all the signs they've missed. They're like, oh my God, they were uncomfortable with me yelling. It's a trigger. If it's a trigger, that means they've dealt or been through something where yelling was traumatic. Now they're feeling that. So even in having to revisit the moments with you, they're evolving because now they know I should have stayed calm. Maybe I could have gotten this person to open up more if I would have calmed my voice. Something to think about. Now we're going to get into Fire Wish Tarot Divine Masculine's Unspoken Messages. We have, and some of this is going to be past tense, some of the reasons why now they might be, struggling so hard to get to you because they're seeing the flaws of before. So we have, I was too concerned what others thought about me, and that affected our connection. If they found themselves constantly having to make excuses, for those who have met family, they always had to make excuses for why you were so closed off. Maybe they felt like they couldn't completely invest because of their own trust issues. A lot of times, again, people take on other people's things. There was this need to please people in their life because of that. I can't take this person home. If I can't get them to open to me, how they going to open to my mom or my family? Oh, well, I could take them to come, but I don't really trust them yet. So why should I? All those different ticks. It's something different for everyone. I'm hearing a lot of different things, but I also feel like money was a part of this too. Some of y'all know guys that are very well off, or at least you know someone they're not struggling too hard right now. We'll put it that way. And work was what got in the way. Caring about meeting the deadline, caring about a project that they found themselves not investing in you the way they should have. Again, they regret walking away. Some of them felt like they were walking away from you before an actual walking away because they weren't spending time. They regret that now. I always wonder if you will allow me to take care of you financially. Would you be housewife material? Ooh, spirit is just, I tell you. By this, what I'm picking up, a lot of you are the kind of divine feminine energies that you will, and again, this is a part of the not trusting. You don't want to depend on anyone. So even if it's just a date, you find yourself always having to take care of you. I got me. I don't need anyone. Sometimes a masculine has to feel needed. And feminines forget that. Masculine energy, it's a co-creator with you. They plant the seed. So they need to feel needed at least some of the time, right? Not every masculine wants to spoil you with a gift. Some of them don't know any better. You didn't talk with them. But honestly, no one should have to feel like, well, I can't get this person even a birthday present because, oh my God, they're going to trip out and think that I just want to like rule their life. And many of them thought of marrying you, but they were like, but would that person even be receiving of that? Are we going to fight all the time just because I want to take them out on a date, or just because I want to buy them flowers, diamonds, whatever? Like, are they going to snap on me? Is it going to be an argument every single time? Because for some of you, it turned into arguments or bickering. So that's an issue. Also, some of them were too concerned about it, though. Some of these masculines was just a little too concerned about that financial part of things, having to keep up appearances. And now they're regretting that. Some of them had to learn humility through you. So it wasn't always bad when you didn't just accept things from them. Sometimes the masculine energy gets used to buying things for someone to make up for mistakes. And after a while, they don't even realize they're devaluing the person when they do that. Because now when a fight happens, they think about what they gave you in a material sense. That's a trigger for many of you, whether they mean to do that or not. It's a trigger because you might have dealt with that before. This is why communication is key. Finances are a huge factor in my life, so I had to stay focused. Again, business people, I'm seeing people in Armani suits. That's all I'm saying. But business was important, and they didn't take time to stop and go, wait a minute, I'm prioritizing this a little too much. I could have gave that project to this person. Many of these are people who have individuals that work for them. They have trusted people they could have let handle something, but they were so busy, like, I gotta focus. And some of them were focusing because they wanted to build a life with you. So they thought they were doing the right thing. They didn't realize that they were emotionally unavailable to you. And if you were emotionally unavailable to them, you were just two unavailable emotional people who weren't even realizing if you just sat down and had one good conversation without yelling, without any pre-thought of how it's going to go, all of this could have been very much resolved. And now both are kind of sitting here like, well, crap, You're on their mind. I do miss the way you loved me, especially with random sweet kisses. Divine Feminines, your healing starts with you and no one else. Let's make that clear. Let's get that understood. It starts with you and no one else. Once you allow yourself to accept your greatness, once you allow yourself to realize that everything that you want to be, everything that you would want in a relationship with another, in order to receive, you must know how to give. In order to give, you must know how to receive. You are already divinely perfect. It's not about being perfect in humankind's idea of what that is. That's a limited belief. That's a limited thought. Let it go. Let go, let flow. When you allow yourself to flow, and you'll have people say, well, you can only flow with what you know. That's for some, but understand, to know everything is to know nothing, and to know nothing is to know everything. That means deep down inside, you already know how to flow. You need to allow it. It's not always about figuring it out. Allow it. Allow yourself to breathe. Allow yourself to expand. Let's go to the top and bottom of some of these decks. From Denied Shadow, we have ego, wearing a false self mask. I spoke about ego earlier in this reading, I believe. Bottom of the deck, we have admiration. Someone admires you. What did your divine masculine say? I'm your secret admirer. Confirmation. Sometimes you got to have those confirmations. I feel that coming towards you would be a huge risk at this time. I am not willing to blow up my life as I have got quite comfortable settling in my still. My soul is constantly feeling the magnetic pull. This is for the masculines who were dealing with the runners, or they left due to business reasons. This is kind of more, it feels more past thought. It pops in their head on occasion, but it feels like more of a past thought. They've gotten used to not having conflict with you. Let's go to the top of this deck. Yep, runner. Divine Feminines. Some of you were the runner. I'm not ready to accept what you have to offer. And what was their first question? Love offer. That was a part of your healing. To face that you need to accept love, right? You see the synchronicities of that? Let's go to the bottom. I am working on my issues. When I feel vulnerable and hurt, I can act in anger. This is my way of trying to gain control when I feel wounded. Didn't I say some of these divine masculines were yelling? It's not that they were wanting to be violent per se, but it was like, I'm going to scream my point across. I'm going to gain control of these emotions. And in reality, that's more of losing control, but it was how they thought of handling the situation. They didn't know how else to communicate. But now they're sitting there realizing that's what made that person just stand there. It wasn't that they were trying to egg me on or make me more mad. It was that it was a trigger for them. What needs to happen? Friendship. Can we be friends and build from there? Some of you have to start over in that way. You have to be friends and build up towards the trust and build up towards the affections again. We have, I act happy, but I'm not. The divine masculine, some of them might want to act happy, to act like everything's together. Oh, you know, with friends and family, oh, I'm fine, everything's great, business is doing well, but you're on their mind and they're like, I just wish this person was here with me. I'm miserable. Like, I need my divine feminine. This is ridiculous. What's their next message to you? Telepathically communicate with me. What were we talking about with dreams? They're coming to you, you're coming to them. They're like, hey, look, sometimes in your mind, just talk to me. You can do that. That builds a bond, my loves. That builds a bond. Sometimes by yourself, shopping in the mall, whatever, a thought comes to your mind. Go ahead and just talk to your divine masculine. You don't have to know him yet. Just talk. And pay attention to the thoughts that answer back. Recognize the difference between your opinion and your true intuition. Pay attention to what thoughts feel like yours. When another person is telepathically communicating, if you don't hear their voice, a person like me, a lot of times that person's strong enough, I can hear the voice. You know, I'll hear the voice of what the person's trying to communicate. Some of you have that. Some of you, it's like, just when you sit and you think to yourself your own thoughts, you can feel, however, that answer didn't feel like your thought. I'll explain it better in a podcast, but it's a real thing. When you ask a question, like when you're talking to the divine, for example, whatever your belief may be, you'll ask a question, you get an instant answer. You know that answer didn't really come from you. It's the same thing. That's what telepathic communication really is. So go ahead and talk with them. They're listening. I don't want to complicate my life even more since I'm in a relationship now. Some of them were in a relationship. I'm feeling like that's another past tense for some. For others, they're coming out of one, or they're at a breaking point with one. But if a divine feminine called themselves trying to maybe reach out or send some type of sign, they were like, oh, now, really? now, oh man. And they want to answer, but then they also kind of feel obligated to the other person. It left them in this in-between state. Like, what do? I don't know what to do. Remember, the divine masculine has their own shadow work as well. I know I hurt you, and I try to pretend that that doesn't affect me emotionally, but deep down it kills me. So again, those who they lashed out on you, not understanding what your triggers were, not understanding how to communicate with you, now they're regretting it. I don't think there's anything I missed. Let's get into the last messages here, my loves, and then we'll close this out. Remember, because this deck here has both divine feminine and masculine healing answers, remember that we also carry the energies of masculine and feminine within us as individuals as well. So some of these messages can also help you heal your inner masculine side. I forgive myself for thinking what I think I want is more important than what I need. I choose to believe that what I think I want is not necessarily reflective of my truest desires. I am constantly receiving what I need in order to clarify those desires. Didn't we have clarity out here earlier, my loves? That's a sign. If necessary, you can play this back and you can say this to yourself. That's what I always recommend with those cards. Repeat it back. Hear yourself say it. It helps in the healing process. Take a deep breath in. Breathe it out. We're on to the next one. I forgive myself for fearing I may become complacent should I enjoy and celebrate my accomplishments. I choose to believe that celebration incites powerful presence that perpetuates joy and allows effortless alignment with my highest potential. Allow yourself to celebrate what you've achieved. Sometimes you're too caught up in the past of what you should have done, shoulda, woulda, coulda. Allow yourself to, I don't care how small the achievement is. Guess what? You woke up today. That's an achievement. Pat yourself on the back. You got in the shower today. You ate. All those little things that you think they're insignificant because you do them every day. Somewhere, somebody else needs a person to help them with that. Somewhere else, somebody is struggling wanting to wake up every day. And it really is a fight. So don't take for granted what it is that you're capable of doing. And when you achieve something that you've done with your own two hands, allow yourself to feel that. When you achieve something that you did with someone else, allow yourself to feel it, accept it. It's not about becoming conceited. It's not about feeling better than somebody else. It's about realizing that you're damn good at what you do. And you deserve that compliment. And you deserve that reward. You're your own best reward before you can be it for anybody else. So allow yourself to accept it, reflect on it, and flow with it. Again, we already know what we need to flow with. It's about allowing it. We're talking about this from a spiritual and a physical, mental point of view. I forgive myself for giving my power away by thinking others are more capable than I am. I choose to believe that I always have access to an innate wisdom that will guide me to the knowledge and resources I need to create what I desire. Take a deep breath, play this video back, and say it out loud. Recite that out loud. Let it be because it is. We're going to get into the chakras to close this out. Root chakra, this is what you need to do for healing it. I forgive myself for allowing my fear of failure keep me from showing up with enthusiasm and full presence. I choose to believe that I am doing the best that I can in every moment. I value my efforts, irrespective of the outcome. That's going to help you clear the root chakra. We have solar plex. I love how bright yellow that is. I forgive myself for expecting others to be for me what I find difficult to be for myself. Pause on that and take a deep breath. We're going to say that again. I forgive myself for expecting others to be for me what I find difficult to be for myself. I choose to believe that I have the ability to be for myself all that I need. And when I embody those aspects of myself, life shares with me more than I felt was available to me. Take a deep breath, let it out. Lastly, I forgive myself for not pursuing what I truly desire just because I did not know how to get there. I choose to believe that when I decide what it is that I want and commit to my desire, the way will find me. And that is for the third eye. Breathe on this, my loves. Take everything said here is said with love. Everything said here is said with grace. And you are full of grace. That song just channeled in. Full of Grace by Sarah McLachlan. I know I can love you much better than this. Full of grace, my love. You're already full of grace. And you can love yourself and another much better than what you currently feel you're capable of right now. Because deep down, you are capable. That is your healing. That is the message towards your healing. That is what you need to heal in order to get and reach sacred union and success in life. I pray that that resonated with you, that that encouraged you, that your divine masculine's message gave you some insight into their thoughts as all of this was and is going on. And I will see you next time. Peace, love, light, and blessings, beautiful souls.